Cheering at pro wrestling shows in Japan is back, and 2023 is already shaping up to be a big year in the history of pro res. That's why you should listen to the Emerald Flow Show. From the Royal Road to the Green Mat, Paul and Gerard take you into the world of All Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah. Not only do we analyze events, but we examine business, who is getting over, what angles are working or not. Occasionally, we take a look at other Japanese promotions like DDT and Zero One. So if you're looking for more coverage of the world of Japanese wrestling, check out the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps.
That's the sound of your current hype level at the gas pump. But brace yourself for something fuel-nominal, because Unleaded 88 is about to take the hype to a whole new level. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, cleaner, and greener than regular unleaded. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, brought to you by Iowa Corn.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Wednesday the 12th of June 2024. This is episode 314. Damon, what's going on? You excited about the Euro 2024 football tournament coming up?
No, not on my radar, but we're having I think in July, I think Arsenal comes to Philly. I mean, it might not be everybody.
Oh, are you going to go see it?
I might. I mean, let's put it this way. I would say it's better than a 50% chance. I just got to see what tickets are doing, honestly. I've become a big fan of not buying tickets when tickets go on sale. It's never worth it. You know what I mean? Like the secondary market usually drops. You can usually find decent tickets at a reasonable price at that point. Anywho, yeah. I mean, I just got to check the day and all that shit. But I'm a last minute Lou. But yeah, that may be fun.
Not to be confused with Long Face Lou, who we'll be discussing later.
You did that one. Long Face Lou. I remember that. Yeah, so that should be fun. I'll do that. Why not? Why not? But like I said, do they not? English is my first language, by the way. Do they not hold back like star players or like in the summer? But
I think the players who are involved in the Euros won't take part in that, but that still leaves plenty of other big names who should be over there.
Okay. All right. I will keep an eye and ear out for that. Yeah, that should be fun. Let me just see what they're doing while you lead the way here. Arsenal, Philadelphia. How about I put that in and see what tickets are doing here while you talk a little bit about New Japan
what would be the sort of football equivalent of don't buy your tickets until the card is announced? You wait for the Arsenal squad, the travelling squad to be announced before you decide whether or not to buy. That would be a good way to do it, actually. Just wait until we find out who the travelling squad is, and then I'll be able to tell you whether or not it'll be worthwhile.
That's not a bad idea. So this is July 31st, so more than a month away. Not a ton of tickets remaining, to be truthful. A lot of resale, and in the building price right now is a little too steep for my blood. $180. That's to get in. That's like
that's a lot.
Yeah, top of the building. Like I'm changing light bulbs. Like I don't think I can get any. Section 223, row 22. Like it would be our NXT seats. That's where
I wouldn't pay for that. I wouldn't pay for that for like a proper Premier League game. So.
Okay. So I'm waiting then. All right. Well, we'll see. It's just as an FYI, it is Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Okay, that's tasty. Good rivalry there. Again, it will depend on which players are sent out for that one, but yeah, we'll touch base on that when the squads are announced.
Yeah, and I will say this as well. The It's the first time I ever remember this. They do have separate sections for Arsenal supporters and Liverpool supporters. I never saw that in Philly before. We usually like to sit next together. It makes throwing punches a lot easier. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Well, something to look forward to in the summer. Take a ride.
You just have to learn how to throw objects at the Liverpool.
Oh,
fans.
we're good at that. Come
Coins,
on, we're Philly.
Batteries, cigarette lighters,
batteries.
glasses full of piss.
Yep. We got it all. We got that covered. Trust me, we're smooth there. Wow. Yeah. It's a Wednesday night though too. It sucks. Some people have to work, but we'll see. All right. How do we transition? I would say don't listen to our podcast for a preview of a show when, because sometimes we get information and a lot of times we don't get information. Let's be very clear. That might sway our opinions somewhat, and let's wait till the fucking show happens. And might be pleasantly surprised. Maybe that's a good rule of thumb. It's probably not, but something I can say with the transition. Maybe not.
Okay. Ellie's just come in the room to give me the important information that Grumpy is still outside.
Okay. Well, she didn't drive to give you that, did she? I'm just kidding, of course. I'm just kidding.
Press circle, please. Listeners, put your hand on your device and just send good vibes my way, please.
Yeah,
we need them.
Yeah, we need good vibes sent out there. Yep, I think we're good. I think we're going to be good. I'm confident. All right.
It's her Kikuchi moment.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't. I feel like I'm treading on thin ice, but we haven't talked about it, have we? Here, right?
No, we'll talk about it next week, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So just leave it in your imagination, people. Sorry for even bringing it up. My bad. It was a poor joke on my part, taking liberties. But yeah. All right, whatever.
Okay. Should we just get straight into Dominion then?
You want to do it? Let's do it. Let's do Dominion.
Very economical pre-show banter here, but whatever. We'll roll with that. So this was Dominion in Osaka-jo Hall on the 9th of June. Attendance, first of all. David.
Yeah.
This was attended by 7,254 people. So that's an increase. It's a small increase. About 200 more people than there were last year, which, of course, was headlined by Sanada versus Yota Tsuji, but was also more of a star-studded show. We had Kazuchika Okada there, we had Will Ospreay there. So the Bebbler writes in to say, what's your read on attendances being ever so slightly up year-on-year, despite, in a lot of people's opinions, much worse booking? Are Okada, Ospreay, and infamous Tangaloa not needle movers? Mm-hmm. So how do you interpret this slight growth in attendance despite the big stars of Ospreay and Okada leaving? Because we've had conversations before where we thought Dominion was going to be the real acid test to see where we are as a product, and doing a little bit better than we did last year.
Yeah, that's weird because every indicator that we had coming our way was that it wouldn't be. I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see how tickets moved. Like how did they move in recent days? Maybe last week. How did we get to where we are? I don't know if I can put it on an individual. If you go traditionally and say, hey, you know what? The main event fucking did it. That's what sold the show. And you knew the winners of the Super Juniors were going to headline. You didn't maybe have an idea who that was, granted. Okay. But okay. The fact that they had faith in juniors to do that is pretty impressive. I think that's the first thing that sticks out. The second thing that sticks out is I don't know if I can sit there and say, okay, it's one person who made this happen. If we're being honest, the match that we all thought was like, what the fuck? It wasn't the main event, but it was second from the top. It's gotta have some reason for putting people in seats, right? I mean, is Hanare that guy? I mean, is that the reason? Like, it's just there's a lot of factors that went into this that said, hey, you know what? This probably won't do as well, but then yet it did. I don't know. It could be the fucking weather in Osaka that day. It could have been fucking. There was a great food truck, and they said, "Well, fuck it, we're here. Let's watch some wrestling." I don't know. Honestly and truly don't know. I'm glad. I'm happy, but I think like seeing those
It's a good
numbers.
sign, isn't it? That, things are not falling apart without Ospreay, and particularly Okada there, because
Yeah.
he was the ace of the company, their biggest star, and a lot of the doomers were thinking that attendances might go in the toilet after he left. But this is encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know if we can stick a pin in a reason, but it happened. So good. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take it. Look, that's a slightly better gate seeing new stars. That's encouraging, I think. I can't lie. It came as a shock to me. And we'll see. It's one show, and it is a decent, significant show when it comes to New Japan's calendar. Like, it's an important show, I think. I wish I could give you a reason, because every reason I come up with, were exactly the same reasons why it wouldn't go well. It went well. Okay, well, it could be just as something as, hey, we were fucking wrong in our opinions, and people dig it. Granted, let's be truthful here, though. It's one show, and again, I'm not shitting on the fact that it's 7, but it's one show. I don't think we can turn this into a trend. Or really count this as, significant data for New Japan's growth. It is a mile marker. It is once again a strong show for a New Japan calendar year, and you want it to do well, and the fact that it did well is great. Do you have any idea why?
I don't know. I think maybe we sort of are starting to explore what the core fan base of New Japan looks like. And I think the elasticity of that without, those big names I've mentioned there is perhaps not as high as we thought. That I think a lot of these people are turning up to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling because they like New Japan Pro Wrestling, not because of a particular star.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in spite of a large chunk of the booking this year being repugnant. Think of how stinky it was post New Beginning, and a lot of things we've been complaining about. But it was a card that on paper, I think we both agreed looked pretty good.
Sure.
And throughout the show, I think a lot of course correction. So going to the famous Super J-Cast, it's We're So Back, It's So Over chart, I think we're on a slight upward trajectory here. We've got 6 months of data here, and then it's, again, a slight increase. That's better than no increase. So, for all the people that say the sky's falling with regards to New Japan, for a company that primarily relies on its live gates, this is good news. And I think there's a lot of positive signs coming out of this show that I'm excited to talk about.
Me too. I feel that a lot, again, things change in a heartbeat. That's the one thing I will say. Things change in a heartbeat, it feels like. It feels like we take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step. It's the past 4 or 5 years has been a lot of that. So, again, I take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. Nothing wrong with that. But let's celebrate it, Hey, if they got one more person than they did last year, I don't think anybody would have expected it. And the fact that they got more than one person more, that's encouraging. I mean, why? There's no reason for anyone to shit on that. There isn't. There really isn't. It's a win all the way around. A surprising win, yes. A win that doesn't necessarily align with what's going on, maybe. But yeah, you're right. It does feel like there is a little bit more sense of that course correction that you mentioned. Again, it's not like we're just flicking a switch. I think somewhat organically, kind of knowing the faults of the past 4 years, the show on paper still was solid on paper, and I think, truth be told, for me anyway, I think the show over delivered. I think it even over delivered, even when we were happy with the stuff that we saw on paper. So, yeah, we can get into it. But look, again, did I expect the number? Nope. I don't think anybody did. And when that number was announced, hey, I got to stand up and give them a round of applause.
I would also like to stand up and give a round of applause to the English commentary team.
Oh,
Walker Stewart and Chris Charlton, who I think that's a pairing that's had its growing pains. But I thought in this show, they were really strong. They're really sort of finding their rhythm and their groove and their respective roles and playing off each other in a nice organic way that enhanced my listening experience, which I haven't always been able to say. And again, I'm not pointing fingers there, but these sorts of things take time to grow. But I'm starting to sense that, maybe this is a case of them getting more comfortable with each other, off the mic as well. Maybe there's a beautiful friendship blossoming. I don't know. I've got no idea, but I just thought the English commentary was very good during the show. I don't know if this is just me that thought that. How was your experience of it?
I thought it was good. I thought the things that tended to annoy me in recent months, I felt less of that. And yeah, I mean, maybe I think a lot of it has to do with our impatience. But here's the thing, though. Again, like, we do a show week to week, and I know there was a comment, I forget where, whatever it was, where we're just content creators and we need something to talk about every week. But we give it to you as it happens. And as it happened, there were growing pains, no doubt. That being said, again, if we're judging it just by this show, I think it improved a lot. And I felt like, for the first time, I really felt like the lanes were a little bit more defined, and I could be wrong. And
Agree.
Yeah, and we really didn't stray from that, and I think that needs to happen. So overall, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Our first match was Tetsuya Naito defeating Callum Newman in 8 minutes and 8 seconds. So this is a really interesting spot for Callum Newman and his comments backstage after the match. He was beating himself up, saying he keeps fucking up on the big stages. He says he needs to find something for himself. But I thought it was a really great performance from him. And, of course, we've got G1 chat coming up at some point on this podcast. If that's proof of concept of him being in the G1, then I'd say this is a green light. I'd say yes to Callum Newman in the G1, because we're going to talk about this playing tournament that they've got at New Japan Seoul. And if you look at the way that Callum Newman has been booked in recent months, he's been given singles matches against, obviously here, Tetsuya Naito, Mikey Nichols, Gabe Kidd, David Finlay, Ishii. So this, to me, the booking looks like a guy who's being prepped for a spot in the G1 where he's not going to win a huge amount of matches, if any, but he's going to show a lot of energy and passion and fire against as the underdog babyface. And he's still got some work to do to beat the allegations of being an Ospreay wannabe, as some, I can't remember who it was on our Discord, called him Will Cosplay, which is extremely very unkind, but also very, very funny. But yeah, to me, the way he's been, but looks like they're a guy where they're definitely leaving the door open for him to participate in the G1. And I thought it was really good in this match. Shows a lot of energy and urgency. And, Naito was Naito, but I thought, Naito was a good base for all the sort of high-flying stuff that Callum was doing. And, definitely we got talent here.
One thing I noticed this match, first, 8 minutes felt like 3. It really did. There was nothing where I was like, "Oh, this match is dread." No, it felt like it was a nice sprint. It set the pace for the entire show, didn't it? It was like, this was the, when you have big shows and you start off with the juniors, again, the idea is, hey, let's get the crowd on their fucking feet. Let's keep that energy going. And I thought it right out of the gate. You have a nice singles match between a guy who's trying to make a name and trying to climb the ranks, et cetera, and a guy who's been there, done that multiple times. I got to give Naito a lot of credit in the sense that he understood the situation and he allowed, and he was a willing, catcher, so to speak, letting Callum do his shit in the beginning and starting off hot. And like I said, everybody raves about Osaka crowds, right? Everyone, whether the good and the bad of it, they were up for it. Like they kept it going for the majority of the show. And there were times where they sat on their hands and wish they were somewhere else. But out of the gate, perfect. And I thought this was a fantastic opening match because, somebody's fighting to be in G1 and someone's fighting to make a name for himself. And there's a big star in the ring. And while, yes, in hindsight, okay, it makes perfect sense for Naito to be victorious. It was 8 minutes of excitement. It was 8 minutes of, come on, kid, fucking make this happen. I was rooting hard, and everybody was too. And then, logic took over. I had no problem with it. Great 8-minute start.
Second match was TMDK, Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, and Zack Sabre Jr. being Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Driller Maloney, and LJ Cleary in 9 minutes 41. This is a pretty fun match. Of course, it was setting up the table for Fujita and Eagles to challenge Clark and Driller for the junior tag belts at the Hokkaido show this weekend. Connors and Maloney are continuing to tease a new addition to the War Dogs. There was some interesting tidbits, some comments that I saw on Lucha Blog from one Penta L0M, whatever the fuck he's calling himself these days, that led a lot of people to speculate whether that was New Japan related, because typically he has been a guy who's been aligned with Triple A, and that has precluded him from working with New Japan, but now he's not working with them anymore. So from what I understand, there was a good segment on the Voices of Wrestling flagship that he and his brother Phoenix would be all clear to work with New Japan should both companies wish to do that. So that could be one to keep an eye on. I enjoyed this match. I thought what was notable was that I don't know what the relationship is between LJ Cleary and Zack Sabre Jr., but Zack was treating LJ Cleary like he gravely insulted him, like he'd slept with Zack's mum or something, because the last minute or two of the match, Zack just absolutely bodied this guy. And you don't often see Zack wrestling like that, but he was just like ragdolling him and just threw him in the fucking bin, basically, which was great. You don't often see Zack going into beast mode like that. So that was really enjoyable. It made me think, wow, he genuinely hates this man. So I don't know, I just found that very funny. And Zack, for his part, is challenging Orange Cassidy for a match at Forbidden Door. Look, usually I don't really care who wins and loses between these New Japan and AEW matches, but if Orange Cassidy wins that, I think I will have to start killing people.
Wow. Well, you heard it here first, people. You know where to find them. I did notice Zack having a little bit, I'd like to call it the sandpaper in him. Once again, this is just me pipe dreaming it, but this is what we want, the summer of Zack. And exactly a little bit of vinegar in a lot that he does. I love it. I don't really think I had a great read on Cleary, to be quite honest with you. He was given a little bit, but not nothing spectacular, right? So I don't know if it's like a one-shot deal. I don't know if he's full-time Bullet Club. Do you? I didn't hear anything new.
LJ Cleary? No, I think this is just
one shot
to further stuff for the. Isn't one of the All Together shows coming up? I don't know. I'm not really keeping track of that, to be honest. Right. There just seems to be this stuff going on all the time. I don't know. Noah getting into bed with WWE now. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, United Japan, hooray!
Right. I saw that tweet actually that you had shared. I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, this was fine. And again, setting up Robbie and Vegeta Looking for some gold. That'd be nice. I'd like to see that title change hands and give it to those guys. A little TMDK stuff. I would like that.
Then we move on to match 3, which was the King of Pro Wrestling title Storm Catch Rules match, where Great-O-Khan defeated Yuya Uemura in 10 minutes 36 seconds to win back his KOPW provisional title. And I enjoyed this one a lot. I thought this was really good, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting. Okay, so you didn't. Well, this is going to be interesting. I was expecting it to be sort of kind of amateur mat wrestling style and interesting style clashes between the Greco-Roman and the amateur wrestling of the respective contenders in this match. But what I thought they did in a really interesting way was play into the stipulations to create drama that they were only allowed 2 rope breaks. And I thought that told a really interesting story of the match, which I wasn't quite expecting. It wasn't what I thought was going to happen going in. But they'd obviously worked very hard. And I think they did the same thing in the Rural Revitalization match before. So I'm not sure if this is Okan or if it's Yuya. And I tend to think it's Yuya, where there's some very sort of creative spots like, guys about to go for the ropes in a submission, but then sort of holding back thinking, oh, fuck, if I grab the rope here, I'm going to use up one of my rope breaks, and then decided to do it in the end. Just the interesting ways they were sort of playing off of that I thought created a lot of interesting drama here. So I enjoyed this one. I thought it was good, but by the sounds of it, you didn't.
It's not that I hated it, but I definitely didn't enjoy as much as you did. And just for the reasons that you outlined, like I didn't feel any of that tension. And it was lost on me. Like I really didn't get into the spirit of, okay, I only have so many I could use, or I don't know. I couldn't not once was I really buying a lot of it. And I don't know if it was, well, obviously it's me because it worked for you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just wasn't as compelling as you explaining it, And here's the thing too. I will say this without hesitation. I'm done with this fucking KOP title. I really am. Like, if there's going to be a title that New Japan drops, let it be this one. It's just one of those things that is just like, I don't look forward to them. I don't care about it. It means zilcho. I don't know.
So we're not excited about Great-O-Khan going back to his rural revitalization gimmick.
No.
I'm with you, Damon. I'd just get rid of it. Tanahashi doing his 10-point plan saying, over the next 18 months, we're going to start phasing out. Just get rid of them, man. If there's ones you don't believe in, just ditch them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't believe in it, and it's a lot of it feels like it depends on who has it, right? So again, if a wrestler has some creative ideas and wants to do something, in their head, okay, great. Seems like in a lot of cases they have carte blanche to do that. Fan voting aside, this is just one of those things that has been nothing but a waste of time for me. Like, there have been pockets where individuals have held it, and it's a little bit more interesting than others. But overall, like this title can get right up the fucking street. I have no time for it anymore. It's just, again, this company has a history, a long track record of popping in these titles and then not giving a shit about them and just having them spin their wheels, and then they fall by the wayside. Let this be first in line. I'll drive it to the airport and away it goes. I'm done with it.
Can I ask you about Yuya Uemura, who has not been in the Grade 1 Climax before? Do you think he is a guy who makes the initial cut of 18 straight into the A block and B block, or do you think he's a guy who will be put into the play-in tournament in New Japan Seoul?
So first of all, I do like the idea of a play-in, right? And again, we're going to talk a lot more G1 in a second. So I do like the concept. 18. And I'm sure we're going to go down the list and who should make it and who shouldn't. But on the surface, to answer your question, I think he's a prime candidate for playing. I don't think he's a slam dunk in, especially that from what we believed being a number that was much greater participants than what they're going with, which is God bless America, England, Japan, and everyone else. Fantastic news. Yeah, I think he's on the bubble. I think he could definitely slide into that playoff. He might be one of those guys.
Then we move on to the fourth match, which was the Never Openweight six-man tag team title match, where Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Hiromu, and Yota Tsuji defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi, Oleg Boltin, and Toriano in 8 minutes 32 seconds. This one was pretty fun. I enjoyed the aesthetic of Oleg Boltin having his long coat to join the Yankee squats with Yano and Tanahashi. I thought he looked good there, and I thought the way the match was structured did a lot of good work in making him look like a beast. Now, he's an interesting one as well, because I find the way he is being developed quite frustrating. They've been very conservative with it. And, if you compare the booking with Callum Newman, Oleg is the only singles matches he's getting, or most of the singles matches he's getting, have been mainly against young lions. And most of the time I don't want to say hidden away, but he's, I think, tactically been put into these never six-man matches. And this is not me saying that I agree with that, but this is obviously how the company are viewing him. So if we're thinking about him potentially being in the G1, I can't see it. I think he should be in it, but just the way that the company seemed quite tentative with his booking, I don't think they will put him in this year. So those are my thoughts on Oleg Boltin. The match was good. I mean, it's always hard to predict really with this never openweight six-man tag, because they're going back to the rematch on Sunday, so they could easily just flip the titles back to them. But what was interesting was Hiromu and Tsuji backstage both teasing that they want matches with Tanahashi, and Hiromu mentioning that he's into the idea of openweight competition. So I'm going to stick a pin in that for now. We'll revisit that one later. But yeah, what did you think of this never openweight six-man tag title match?
Better than I thought going in. The one thing that you had mentioned, when it comes to Bolton, is age. Like I remember us talking about, they really got to shit or get off the pot with this guy, in the sense of, I mean, he's not 107. He's not, he doesn't need a cane, but for what it's worth, he's 31. Now, okay, that might not seem old, but if we're being fair, as a young lion, it might be, if you consider Callum Newman is 25. So,
can I pitch something to you, Damon? You tell me if I'm talking rubbish here, but for me, I always sort of judge it by miles on the clock rather than age, because a guy like Callum Newman, very young, but he's been wrestling for ages, and I don't know if you sort of subscribe to this theory of having a bump card, whereas someone like Newman is a lot younger than Boltin, but because he's been wrestling for much longer, that the age thing is not really that much of a factor, or am I talking out my arse?
No, I mean, I see the point, but I mean, it's not like Bolton was sitting on his fucking couch, right? Like, the guy was wrestling, right? He was, in like legitimate, wrestling tournaments, so I would think that's going to have maybe not the same as, falling from a fucking top rope on your back, but there's plenty of opportunity for injury and miles to be rung up in amateur wrestling. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, Callum is fucking, landing on his back from considerable heights. It says something. But also, let's be truthful. A 25-year-old, like, just on the surface, just like your playing field leveled. I mean, he's 25. You can do things when you're 25 that you can't do when you're 35. You know what I mean? It like, the body just won't allow you to do those things. I don't care what fucking shape you're in. I don't know. I just wish that. No, like, what are we doing? Like, let's go. Like, he's been training there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, a long time, right? It's not like he's Like when I say a long time, like before 2020. So it's not like it's been. I don't know. Boy, I don't know. I get frustrated when it comes to this. I really do want him to be a somebody, and it's just a New Japan thing where they take their fucking time. Whatever. The match itself, yeah, it was fine. It's I think it's significant that Tsuji got the pin on. Correct me if I'm wrong, and my memory isn't what it was. Beating Tanahashi.
Correct, yeah.
I still think that means something. I could be, that expiration date could be long gone. I still think it has something. And again, 8 minutes. Another 8-minute match, right? So it wasn't like this was like a 32-minute match where he wore him down. Nope. High five flow, miss, Tsuji, spear, away we go. I think that was a nice little exclamation point win. I definitely thought the right guy got the pinfall for sure.
Are we ready for the Tanahashi conversation? Is he going straight into the cut of 18 for the G1 blocks?
I don't even know if he's in it. What do you think of that? I don't even think he's going to be in it.
I don't think he should be. I think he would be much better served in that play-in tournament, putting over someone else in one of those finals.
Me too.
That's what I think.
I
don't want to see him hobbling his way through 9 matches.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like the value to me is him putting over somebody to get them into the deal, and have that be a shocker. I mean, look, he's taken a lot of pinfalls lately. It feels like. That being said, why not? Like he knows the value of him losing. Like that's not foreign to him. Like he gets it. He understands the value of him losing. And I don't think his body can handle the grind of that. I don't want his body to handle the grind of it. But and here's the thing too. You don't need him to grind out a G1. We don't need it. We don't. And to me, if he can conserve and collectively channel all that energy into putting a guy over and getting him into the tournament, I think that's like, I can't tell you how much of a perfect scenario that is for everyone involved. People in the G1, people running the G1, fans of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi himself, the person he puts over, like the value is like tenfold of him doing it that way than grinding out night 7 against fucking Yano in Nagoya. No one wants that.
5th match was Jeff Cobb defeating Tomohiro Ishii in the NJPW World Television title match, 11 minutes 47 seconds.
This is the belt.
Oh man,
this is the belt.
This be live. No, I've been saying for many, many months now that Jeff Cobb is a guy who I think should be a featured act in New Japan because he's fucking great. And he is. He's proved it here. Actually, he proves it every time. Like, there's very few bad Jeff Cobb singles matches. He's the man. He should be United Empire leader, but whatever. I'm just glad there's a singles title on him and I get to see him in roundabout 10-minute matches just throwing people around the ring. That's great. But Tomohiro Ishii, man, like this, I'm coming full circle on him because it reaches the point in your fandom where you realize that there is a template, a blueprint for an Ishii match. There is the Ishii match, and people sort of falling over themselves and say, oh, Ishii, he's so great. It kind of gets a bit passé. But then she keeps on doing it, and you see other wrestlers retire. You see other wrestlers break down and slow down. You see other wrestlers phone it in and, not give 100% each time. But this man is just incapable. He will not allow it of himself to deliver any less than his absolute best when he goes out there and has a singles match. And we know he's hurting. We know his knee's fucked up and there's big question marks about whether he can participate in something like the G1. He's not been doing full tours. He's not been appearing in these Ultimate tag matches. He's just been doing the odd singles match. But even when he does, with what I've heard about his having real trouble with that, you wouldn't be able to tell. You would not be able to tell by the effort he goes out there and just bumping like a lunatic for Jeff Cobb, making Jeff Cobb look like $1 million and just leaving it all out there. And this is not going to continue forever. Every time I see an Ishii match like this, I just have to tell myself, that's one fewer. We're counting down that clock until we stop getting this quality of matches. And yeah, for the people who are kind of hand-waving Ishii due to the similarity of his matches, just we've got to appreciate what we have here, because this man's a treasure. I love, there's so much to enjoy, isn't there? Just the way his sort of legs give out before his head does. He wants to stand up and fire back, but he just, the wobbly legs, and he can't quite stay on his feet. And Tomohiro Ishii appreciator right here, man, because it's not going to last forever.
I'm down. Look, and I get it. Like people will, it's like having a fine steak every night for dinner, and it's like, okay, I'm tired of fucking this delicious steak. Okay, well, guess what? If you maybe you come around and you appreciate the steak, and maybe that's really us, just and fans in general. There are people that haven't wavered in that, and they just like it's presented to them, and they fucking eat it up like it's the best thing they've had. And he's been doing it for so many years. Joel, he's 48. I'm sorry, I have to point out the age again. 48, and working that.
If you put this match side by side with a match of a similar style from like 2017, 2016. Would I be able to tell a difference? I don't think I would.
Not that much. I mean, not that much. Yeah, he's the same. But guess what? The same is great, right? You're getting the same greatness. And let me, I'm going to dial that back. What you're getting is maybe not great every single match, but what you're getting is a fucking effort in him working his style against, a multitude of different opponents. Look, him to be able to, I just want to put this in fucking perspective. Him being able to have a match like this in 2024, when realistically, a 48-year-old man probably, again, if you're just looking at it on paper, you probably wouldn't put that person in that type of spot. You probably wouldn't. He's different. He's built different. That's just fucking that's just the cards that we have been dealt with Tomohiro Ishii. 48, and again, maybe the character of Tomohiro Ishii is one and the same, but the person, right? And just doesn't give a fuck. And injuries, age, the sun, I don't give a shit. He's going to go out there and fucking get hit hard and hit back hard. And that's, in a lot of cases, fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. And I don't care who you are at 48. The old adage of, well, I'm going to hit you hard, but I'm going to hit you in safe spaces. Well, guess what? Those safe places and spaces on your body, they will get broken down. They just will. I mean, it's just going to happen. And here's the thing. No matter what is broken down on him, he still goes through. He still fights through it. You got to tip your cap to him. There's not a ton of athletes, period, that do the things that he does at his age and with the injuries that he has, and yet goes out there and delivers against guys who, let's be honest, he's not working light heavyweights. He's working the big boys. He's working the fucking monsters. He's working the guys who hit very hard and like to throw people around. That's him. He's a fire plug. But there's only so much a man can fucking take. But he just spits at it and laughs at it and moves on. And it is now 2024, and we're sitting here talking about a Jeff Cobb Tomohiro Ishii match that arguably was one of the best matches on the show. Fucking, that's what you get. So, yeah. Like, I don't want to sit here and say that there weren't times in my life where I was like, All right, well, it's another Tomohiro Ishii match, and this is what you're going to get, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, there was. I'm not going to sit here and lie to the listeners or you, but I gotta shake that shit off because he's a MVP. He's an MVP and yet still underrated. So God bless him. God bless that he is a member of the New Japan Pro Wrestling roster.
Elliot says, after that match with Cobb, can the company really and seriously say there are 20 guys more deserving of a G1 spot than Ishii? The guy literally cannot miss. Yeah, it's not a question of deserving, is it? I'm sure if he was physically up to it, they would have him in there. But I just think the question marks about his health will be the only thing preventing him from being in that mix. Do you think he's in the 18?
Probably. Because here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Like, his injuries, like, he's one guy that I'm like, that should not be even a consideration because you're still going to get fucking him. It's whether you want to see the guy die in a ring. I hate to be that guy, but like, and I don't mean it literally, but you get my point, right? You want to see a guy break down over a summer? Okay, well, put him in because he knows no other way, right? So, they're adults. I'm not going to tell them what to fucking do. But that's the only thing holding him back. And here's the thing. I don't even think it's him. Like, I don't even think it would be him being like, you know what? I'm banged up. I don't know if I want to do this run. No, he'd be like, okay, sign me up. It's the company making that decision. That's the only way I don't see him in. Let's put it that way.
Well, the next match we're going to talk about straight away immediately
I'm
after.
sorry, that's the funniest opening ever. I'm sorry. Because
immediately after discussing Jeff Cobb versus Tomohiro Ishii with no gaps in between. Nothing happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they know you fell off. Yeah. They know you fell off. So I did a little. Okay. I did do a little.
I didn't fall off. It wasn't Miss fucking Zencaster.
Yeah, they stink. They let us down. The system totally died. So I did vamp for a little bit. But I love your smooth transition into it. You know, 24 hours later. It's so great. I fucking hate technology. All right. Yes, please. Joel, you're back in the driver's seat. Let's fucking put this right into a clip. There you go.
Here we go into the brick wall that was the IWGP Tag Team title, NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team title match with TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes defeating Bullet Club, Chase Owens and Kenta, Gorillas of Destiny, El Fantasma and Hikuleo, and Bishamon, Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. So TMDK were eliminated. No, they won. What am I talking about? They won!
They won the goddamn thing.
Gorillas of Destiny after 6 minutes and 27 seconds jobbing out those pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Bishamon eliminated Bullet Club after 11 minutes and TMDK finally eliminated Bishamon after 16 minutes. And the match was just bag of nothing, really. I mean, there's nothing bad about it, but just the crowd died on its ass. They could not give a solitary shit about any of these teams apart from Bishamon and maybe a little bit TMDK. I think they were into TMDK Bishamon sequences by the end, and they were happy for them, but they did not give a fuck about Chase and Kenta. They did not give a fuck about ELP and Hikuleo, and that's it for Hikuleo. He's riding off into the sunset. From what we hear, he's going to be popping up next at SummerSlam. And do you know, Damon, what his rumoured name is going to be in WWE?
Big, tall Jones. I don't know. No, what?
It's even worse than that. It's more preposterous than that. You are almost correct, right? I'm going to send it to your WhatsApp.
Okay.
You won't believe it. This is a trademark that's just been filed.
It's just really okay. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. I'm
laughing already.
Are you kidding me? That's craziness. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Tonga.
Taller. Oh my God. I mean, seriously. Talla Tonga? Holy shit. Talla. All right, we get it. You're tall.
What else was on the scrap heap? What were the other ones they workshopped through? A larger Tonga?
Curly hair Tonga? Like, holy shit.
Longa Tonga?
I actually liked Longa Tonga. That's good. I like that one. I'm naming my synth pop band Longa Tonga. Yeah, come on. That can't possibly be real. I mean, what creative fucking brain dead people are like, yeah, well, he's tall. Hey, I got an idea. Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is like, yeah, man, I got an idea. Let's name him.
Probably the same person who renamed War Machine the Viking Experience.
Yeah,
That was my favorite one.
Yeah. Let's name him Tonga. You get it? Because he's tall. Oh, yeah, we get it, Michael. You and your dumb suits. Terrible. If that's legitimately the name, it is probably the worst name in all pro wrestling. Stop it. Like, what? Look, I know pro wrestling fans are dumb as fucking rocks, right? There's plenty of them. Look, no doubt. Are we really going to the lowest common denominator? He's tall. Let's call him Taller. God damn it. Well, look. This match, as I waxed poetically on, it was there. What did you think about the? Because we didn't really get your hot take on this. What did you think about the idea of the breakup between ELP and Tola? Like, did you think it was executed well? I kind of thought it was like, all right, it seems pretty shoehorning it in.
I'm just grateful that they're not doing like an NXT style blow off match. I do think like this whole Hikuleo thing is extremely, well, I was going to say funny, but it's also a bit sad because you can see the company were behind him and he was but really strongly last year. Got the Loser Leave Japan's match win over Jay White, which I thought was fantastic. Maybe in retrospect, Jay White carry job. I think I can say that now.
Yeah.
And G1, he went over all of the Musketeers, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I remember the Tsuji match being particularly good. Again, looking back on that, Tsuji probably did most of the heavy lifting there. I don't know if I'm looking back at other Hikuleo matches where he peaked. The World Tag League final, I enjoyed that a lot. But never really a tag team that was any more than the sum of its parts. Never really clicked for me.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any real value or emotion or drama in that breakup spot. And the crowd, like, you could have heard a pin drop in there. They didn't give a fuck, did they?
They didn't. And as we were talking about before, like the crowd was up for it. Like they would have reacted to anything if you gave it to them, and they didn't care.
It's just really like they've done this sort of Ouroboros snake eating its own tail of using the heat of one person leaving to get someone else over. So Jay White with the Loser Leaves Japan match, all that heat, and I know there's no sort of transitive property of heat, so take this with a pinch of salt. But Jay White losing the Loser Leaves Japan match to Hikuleo, so Hikuleo gets all that heat and also absorbs all the heat from the Musketeers from beating all of them.
Yeah,
and then whilst you've got that going on, you've got Tama Tonga on the little, politic run that he did, beating a load of guys that maybe shouldn't have beaten. Just throwing that out there. And then Tama Tonga's last match, he puts over Hikuleo. Right? So then all these people putting over Hikuleo, and then who does he put over on the way out? No. I mean, I suppose they did get jobbed out after 6 minutes. So TMDK then just hoovered up all that heat, and they're going to be absolutely unstoppable now because they've got the power of Jay White's final match and Tama Tonga's final match, and now Hikuleo's final match. They've just absorbed all those souls like Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, and they cannot be stopped.
I look, being that we're at the end of the run, and I've had a couple IPAs. My apologies. Let's be honest. He stunk. Right? He stunk. Like, he was tall. He was big. He was a big fucking guy. That's it. That's where it begins, and that's where it ends. Like, no one, even the company, like, the company knew. He was fucking sitting in strong And every once in a while, like he was just in this like undercard tag team situation. He wasn't that
Purgatory.
good. I mean, he had all the physical tools that a WWE would be like spooging over, but like
He'll do better in WWE. I think that's a better fit for him. To be honest.
absolutely. And and here's the thing: it's not like we haven't said this for what 2 years, 3 years. Like this is like when Vince was running the company. Like he was jacking off to him. Like that is his wet dream. And I'm somewhat surprised in the sense that they bit on him. But like he's tailor-made WWE. Like he doesn't have to do anything. He can be a big monster, and he's young. Like he's not, like they have plenty of fucking runway with him. Like, yeah, it makes perfect sense for WWE. And here's the thing. All right, like what was his ceiling in New Japan? Like he wasn't winning any singles titles. And I would go so far as to say, like, if they said, okay, we're gonna wait till he develops, we're gonna, there was nothing there. He's big, he's tall. Okay, great. Like we're not doing cartwheels over Hikuleo. And I thought that like him, the tag spot where they fucked up and blah blah blah. I don't know. Is it like that was a little bit underwhelming in the sense that that's the cause of the breakup, and now he's just going to leave and we'll never see him again? I don't know. Kind of was hoping for a little bit more, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't give a flying fuck about Hikuleo, and he can go and make his money, and he doesn't give a flying fuck about New Japan. Like I'm going to take that back because correct me if I'm wrong. There were reports that he was upset about leaving. He's been there for such a long time, and he learned as much as he could in New Japan. But there is no one, and if there is, do me a favor, fucking touch grass. No one getting upset over the loss of Hikuleo. Absolutely fucking no one. And to know that you're going to debut at SummerSlam under the name Paula. I don't fucking get up the street. We're the worst. But here we are. 2024. And Paula is our guy.
Truly blessed times, Damon. We should be grateful for the fact that WWE took all three of them.
Yeah.
They'll never darken my doors again. Right, changing tack here, Damon. Right, the other 7 guys in this match, right?
Yeah.
G1 prospects. What do we think? So Mikey Nichols, Shane Haste, Chase Owens, Kenta, ELP, Goto, Yoshihashi. Where do you think they land in G1 scenario?
Your last 3 would be the people. Yeah, your last 3. I think Hiroki Goto still has gas in the tank. I would put him in, right? Yoshihashi. I hate to let previous biases sink in, and I'm not going to. Like, to me, he should be in. I think he should be in. I would want and thoroughly be on board with ELP in. Kenta, I'm good. We're good. Go to the States, work a handful of indie shows, fucking, get as much money as you can, because we all know that you do, and do your thing. Chase, look, Texas barbecue is a wonderful thing. Go enjoy your summer. Go enjoy your summer. Yeah. And okay, so while I do like the idea of tag team champions being in, and I think that they of those people that I mentioned, they probably have the strongest chance being that they are. I don't know.
It devalues the tag championships, I feel, if they're going in and eating a load of losses.
They're going to eat a lot of losses. I mean, right?
I think it would be better if they just say, no, we're concentrating on being the best tag team as possible and
Yeah.
That's it.
Like, what's the? I mean, aside from being a pin eater, like, what's the positive for them and for New Japan? Like, again, everyone is excited about the prospect of we're lowering the field, which it should have been from the jump. Okay, like our minds were kind of in focus of like a 32 fucking man field, and nobody wanted it, but we kind of resigned to the fact that that was what it's going to be. Okay, well, we shaved off 11 people possible spots. And that's a good thing. Let me be very clear. But that means people don't make the cut. People don't make the fucking cut. I love it. And I think you start there. I hate to say it, but there's no, aside from them losing, like, do you think they're going to, like, if any one of those two were in, are they breaking 500? I don't even think they would. And all you're doing is you're devaluing what little value your tag champions have. Keep them out. And here's the thing too: keep them out and have them defend those titles every once in a while. On doesn't have to be every show. Half of them, a quarter of them. I think that's the best way to go. On the undercard, that's the way to go. So. If you're asking me, I want ELP in. I would have no problem with Yoshihashi in, and I would have no problem with Hiroki Goto in.
Yeah, I think I agree. I just wonder about someone like Goto who really, I know last year's G1, I don't know if he brought an injury into that one or he was injured during the tour, but he strikes me as a person who may have more value putting someone over in the play-in tournament rather than labouring his way to 5-4 or 4-5 in the blocks.
Look, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And if we're changing the guard, so to speak, and we're ushering in new talent and new stars, yes, that would be the logical way to go. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. The problem with that is people still have to lose in G1, right? And there's no harm in Hiroki Goto being that guy that maybe, takes more pinfalls than wins. Occasionally gets a win. Maybe, helps perpetuate the idea of an upset. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to lose more than he wins. And I have no problem with that. Yeah, I mean, I think he could. I think he still has some gas in the tank. I would bet on him having more gas than not. Sorry.
Well, you want my hot take? Out of those 7 guys,
yes,
Yoshihashi, he's probably at the top of my list.
Mm.
Is that even a hot take?
I mean, like, if we rewound the clock and said, okay, 5 years ago, even 4 years ago, yeah, it might be. But I think I think the hardest part about New Japan fans is that a lot of them parachuted in during, Nakamura, Ibushi, Okada, et cetera, and they kind of, knew of Yoshihashi as this lower mid-card guy, and again, not to say that he wasn't decent, but again, he was a bag of socks. We did a fucking bit on it for years. And I think that perception has stuck with a lot of, at the very least, Western fans. Maybe not that one girl who cried over Yoshihashi, which is so adorable. Nobody's ever cried over me like that. Let me be very clear. Yeah, I mean, he's earned it. And that's me saying it, because trust me, I could have very easily been stuck in that rut, but he's earned it. Like, he should absolutely be in, no question. How about that? No question.
Let's move on to match 7, which was the never openweight title match. Shingo Takagi versus Henare, which went to a double KO after 40 minutes, 35 seconds. It's a hard one to judge, really, because they've set the bar extremely high with their previous matches. And to me, this didn't get there. I thought it was simmering along nicely, but the double KO finish came out of nowhere. Yeah. I don't think built up to that effectively. And of course, we understand why that is the case because they are having the rematch on Sunday. But even so, I don't know. I don't think the finish didn't really work for me in this one.
No, me neither. And before they announced the rematch, trust me, I was one of those people that was just staring at the TV, being like, "Whoa, like what needs to happen here? Like what needs to fucking happen?" And again, it's nice that they were able to milk this for another match. Yeah, but if we're judging this match, I felt like there was plenty left on the table. I felt like, before the rematch, I hate to say it, but I was really disappointed. I was really aching for the guy to fucking get his first title. Like, and I think to a person, people wanted it to happen. Like this is he deserves it chant kind of thing. So I was a little worried in the fact that he didn't. Hinari, we're talking about. And once again, I was like, well, what does this guy have to do? Who does this guy have to blow? Who does this fucking guy need to, why? What is going, why? Tell me why. Rematch. Okay. We're going to milk it a little bit longer. All right. But this match, yeah, like I said, I think it's weird going into a Dominion and building toward, dare I say, a more secondary show with the idea of, okay, we're going to do a double DQ or double count out finish to build toward this other new show. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of it. Like if you're going to do it, wouldn't Dominion be like the place to do it? But they didn't. We're going to build to another show. But I think the good news is, Joel, is that you're right. There is plenty, it felt like, left in the tank. So if they're able to empty it, then yeah, we're the winners. Like we're gonna be on the right side of it, right? Here's the thing. And if anything I've learned in all of my years of watching not only New Japan Pro Wrestling, but all of pro wrestling, is that you strike while the fire is hot. Like the idea of the build and the build and the build, especially when it comes to this promotion. Look, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Injuries, I don't know, COVID. There's something. Like the idea of building them and building and building it to a blow off match and then building it more. I don't know. Like I feel like you're at the poker table and you've won a big hand and you're trying to chase a number that you could very well lose. And I feel like that's here. Like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't see necessarily the value in stretching it out to this show, this Soul show, as opposed to just doing it at Dominion. Like, what's the positive? What's like, I don't know. And I worry about the fact that when they do that, things go astray. I'd rather just do it. And again, Dominion is not like some haphazard throwaway show. It's an important show. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it. I don't see the value in stretching it out to this. I guess the value is, Joel, is I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to watch. But here's the thing: I think anybody who was watching Dominion was going to watch Soul anyway. So I don't know. You tell me. What am I missing?
No, I agree. This is one of those situations I've talked about before where I feel the invisible hand of the booker and it ruptures my suspension of disbelief and you think, oh, okay, they did this because they're trying to stretch it out to do this. And that's not a good feeling.
No.
I don't want to have to be thinking about that when what I really want is to immerse myself in these two guys beating the shit out of each other.
Yep.
That's what I want.
Yep.
Not giving me convoluted, dusty finishes so we can stretch it out for another week.
Yep.
And I don't think that there is an outcome on Sunday at the New Japan Soul event where I will go, oh, okay, now it makes sense. Now that's fine.
Right.
Because, like you said, this is Dominion. This was third from the top. Hanari deserved better. I think the match deserved a better finish than this.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. We'll see. Would it have the same impact? I truly believe that the same people that tuned in for Dominion are going to tune into this show. So there's that. But yeah, why not there? I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think it makes anyone look stronger, and I don't think it makes anyone look more vulnerable. It could have very easily have happened there, and I think they're overthinking it. Fair enough. Do what you got to do. If you feel bringing it to another show is there's value there. Okay, maybe there's shit that I don't know, possibly, probably, but it just seemed like just fucking do it there because more eyeballs are going to be there. But okay, what do I know?
8th match, IWGP World Heavyweight Title Lumberjack match. Jon Moxley defeating Evil, 25 minutes and 1 second. Now, I admit my expectations were low going into this one. I didn't expect much. I think the Mox reign has been, generous for me to say, a mixed bag. And this match, I expected nothing. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I thought this was far more than the sum of its parts. And I will say this. Let me preface this by saying the expectations should be higher for your world title match at Dominion. I've spoken about this before because world title matches at Dominion are some of the best matches in wrestling history. That's not an exaggeration. So, this is quite a fun little lumberjack match. I thought it was going to be shite, but I actually had a blast watching it. We should be aiming higher than that.
Yeah.
But again, let's compartmentalize that and say that this exceeded my low expectations, right? I thought Mox was a very, really, really good foil for the House of Torture shenanigans. I thought him and Evil had good chemistry. The fans were really into Mox, so let's put that to bed. I'm not going to be flaunting this line of Japanese fans don't care about him because they do. They enjoyed him here, and I feel Evil always he pops better against someone who's also a bit of a shit, as Jon Moxley is. And I don't want to throw some flowers at Evil here, because really, this is a guy who, I'm trying to think of other people on the roster, and I can't think of it. And I think he is peerless at in and out of the ring shithousing with just a nice touch of comedic audacity. He's got a really, really great instinct for saying and doing the thing that's going to piss off the most people at any given time. Very much like me on Twitter, Damon. He's a kindred spirit. Just the little things like, spraying Kidani's face, doing the Anaconda Vice in front of Tenzan, the Shield Powerbomb. I love that. Just every word, every move that he does seems carefully selected for maximum disrespect. And I do enjoy that. It sort of layers and builds that sense of indignation to boiling point where you're frothing at the mouth to see him get clobbered with a barbed wire baseball bat, which he did. And that was very satisfying. And I feel all that stuff that I've talked about, Evil being good at, has been lost this year because of House of Torture saturation. They laid it on so thick with everything going on with Show being junior champion and the red narrator turn and everything that I have not been able to enjoy Evil as much as I should, because I think he is really good at this stuff. I thought the dads played their role really well. Tiger Mask doing his suicide dive and all the other guys doing whatever they did that I can't remember. The shenanigans was all really well paced. I thought it was well timed. It was executed well. I thought it created a very, very dynamic sense of fun. What did you think?
Yeah. Look, I think everyone can predict the fact that going into it, I had a ton of reservation. I had a ton of dread of the idea of Evil winning this title. And I thought it was like, bet the mortgage, bet the house, put all your money on it to happen. And it didn't happen. So there was a little sense of, okay, all right, what next do we have? All right, let me address Jon Moxley first. I don't think Jon Moxley has been a terrible New Japan Pro Wrestling champion, in the sense that there really isn't anyone else in all of pro wrestling that if you're trying to stretch your potential viewership, especially in the States, there's really a short list that I would trust to hold that title. And truth be told, he's one of them, right? Are his matches going to deliver Misawa Kawada or Steve Williams, Terry Gordy, or Stan Hansen versus Kobashi, or Okada versus Tanahashi, or Ibushi versus Ospreay? You know, you could fucking fill in the blanks. Probably not. A lot of brawling, a lot of walk and brawl, a lot of use of gimmicks at ringside. All fine. All okay. That's what you get. Now, we're compounding that with Evil, who your mileage is going to vary. And it's never really been a factor of we don't like Evil because of what he does, because there's a place for that in pro wrestling. The problem is that it's usually in the sweet spot for people wanting to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling for those matches that leave you breathless. You're not going to get that. That's not happening. So it's walk and brawl, weapons versus shithousery, weapons, and we're going to throw in the idea of a lumberjack match, which I don't think necessarily played into either person's strength. You do have House of Torture. You do have the idea of the dads being the people that watch over Moxley. Great. I thought the match was okay. I didn't think the match was terrible. Did I like the fact that Moxley won? Of course, yes. But in the same breath, I was kind of like, okay, if Evil's doing it, like at least the belt comes home, the title comes home, and we don't have to worry about Tony and Moxley showing up and whomever, fucking Trent Beretta challenging, some nonsense.
Brace yourself for something fuel-nominal. Unleaded 88 is the clear fuel choice. It's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. And it's grown by Iowa corn farmers. Now that's totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88.
Wouldn't have to worry about that. The problem is this. That title is, by the day, losing any significance, any importance, any specialness. And once again, I feel like that is a cornerstone of what people like myself and others gravitated to, right? That belt is the most important thing. And New Japan kind of tipped their hand in the sense of, okay, we're going to put the Best of the Super Juniors final ahead of this match. I don't know what the end game is. Is the end game selling 3,000 tickets at USB Arena or UBS Arena, or whatever it is in Long Island? Like, it's not selling out. Like, take a look. It's not. We're not lighting the world on fire with ticket sales. I don't know. I don't know what the end game is. I really don't. I would have thought the end game was Mox and I don't know, a Young Lion. I think we all have one in mind to be something that we would lean into. It doesn't look like that's happening. I don't know. I guess I was a little bit happy in the sense that it felt like, and I could be dead wrong, but it felt like that was the end of Evil at the top. And I think we all can applaud that. There's no reason to not have Evil on a show. He absolutely 1,000% serves a purpose. It's just where it's placed. And I think the jury is still out on whether Mox overall is the right fit and really like I said, that I was kind of like, okay, there's not many people in North America that you could put that belt on and feel good about. But I'm also going to ask the question: what is the net positive of Jon Moxley being your world heavyweight champion? And I got to be honest with you, I've yet to see it. Like, you could point a finger at Chicago and being like, well, that was an unbelievable house. And that was built on him being on that show and challenging for the title. And I'll give you that. You got a nice house out of it, without question. Is that sustainable? Is that something that people are going to buy tickets for here in the States? And is this just to placate Western audience? Yes, he gets appreciated in Japan, but I fucking guarantee you put that belt on homegrown talent, and I think Japanese fans would be even more into the idea of that. So I'm torn. I'm very much torn, and I don't know. Like I feel like I'm just in this little bit of a holding pattern of, okay, I know this is a transitional champion. I know this is not something I should be hanging my hat on, but in the same breath, I'm kind of like, okay, well, why are we doing this? What is the idea here? And where do we go from here? And I think, going into G1 season and the lowering of like, if you told me 32 people were going to be in G1, I would say, yep, looks like Mox is in. I don't think it's a guarantee that he's in. Like, is he going to take the entire fucking month?
No way he's in. No chance.
But isn't that like, I don't know. Does that leave a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth?
No, because he's going to drop the title to Naito at Forbidden Door.
Okay, so that's a guarantee.
Yeah,
we're going to the bank with that. And
yeah,
okay, then
there's not a chance in hell that Mox beats Naito twice. That's not happening.
Mox doesn't lose in a New Japan ring.
It's not a New Japan ring, Damon. It's Forbidden Door. That's very much an AEW ring with a slight sprinkling of NJPW.
Fair enough. You're guaranteeing it. Scale of 1 to 10. Scale of 1 to 10. 10?
10.
Wow. Do you want to bet $1 American dollar?
Sure.
All right. $1 American dollar it is. Well, I mean, then I'll pose the question to you. What was the point of all this?
Okay, well, I said from day one that this is just going to be... Mox defends it a few times against some of the youngsters, and then Naito wins it back.
Did that happen?
And I think I'm going to be proved to be correct. Now, he's worked with... he's defended against Ren. He's defended against Shota. The evil defense, your mileage may vary, but yeah, I suppose that's going to come down to what value you think Ren and Shota got from those defenses. And the houses that it popped, because I still think Jon Moxley is a draw, relatively speaking. So was it a worthwhile experiment at the end of the day? I would say, yeah, it's given us something to talk about, hasn't it?
I guess, but like, okay.
And also, I think it is set the table for a Mox Shota rematch somewhere in the future where Shota can get a big win over Mox on a bigger stage.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily have to be for a title, but at least we put in some groundwork for that.
If Naito defended that title against the same people that you mentioned, would it be more of a net positive or less?
Oh, I don't know. I'm scared about Naito. I really am. Like, physically.
Yes, no doubt. But if he could defend the title against those same people that you mentioned, I feel like that would be more of a.
He might. He probably will. I'm sure he will defend against them at some point. There's a very real possibility of that being on the table for Wrestle Kingdom. I think Naito defending the title against G1 winner Shota. That could happen.
Sure. Okay. I guess my point is that. I mean, was this done to give Naito a little rest, recovery, a little time off?
That's a good point, Damon. That's a really good point. I think not enough people are talking about that. But I'd have to check Cage Match. Right, I'm going to look at Cage Match and see Naito's output over the last few months, because I've got a feeling he might have just been working an insane schedule since losing the title to Mox. So let's have a look. Moxley. So he lost it in April the 12th.
Okay.
And since then, he's had 21 matches. So
Singles?
not exact. No. Most of these are tags.
Okay.
Singles matches. I think it was just the Callum Newman one.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of tags.
Okay.
Does that count as taking a rest?
I mean, maybe. I mean, could it? But again, I'll pose the question of: could he have done that?
And the Tetsuya, the Driller Maloney match,
Right.
with the Jake Lee running.
Right. Okay. I mean, it sounds like a regular New Japan Pro Wrestling schedule to me.
Yeah, that I don't think I could classify that as a rest.
Right. Now compare that to Mox, who goes on U.S. television, defends it.
Oh, I should point out he's wrestling Jake Lee on Saturday as well.
Right.
The main event of this Altogether show.
Right. But again,
no rest for Tetsuya. I'm calling it official judgment, not a rest.
Not a rest. I would say not a rest. So, again, tag matches. You can hide in the corner and take it easy on any given night. But I guess my point being is, it doesn't feel like they took the title off of Mox or took the title off Naito to have Mox defend and have this arduous schedule. Again, I'm not shitting on the fact that we're flying across the country multiple times, across the world multiple times. And again, the defenses are, some of them are laughable, some of them whatever. I don't know. I mean, is Mox here's the thing. You put the title on Jon Moxley because you feel that by doing so, you give that title an air of importance. And it's going to be on national cable television in the United States and Canada and wherever else it is. And people are going to see that and do X. I highly doubt, and I say this with every grain of I don't want to make people angry. That title on AEW television means zilch. I don't think that's a stretch. It means zilch. Like it's not like people think it might be cool, and people might think.
Damon, last year's Forbidden Door, it was the third match from the start of the show.
Yeah. Was that
Jack
Sonata
Perry
and Cassidy?
Jack Perry.
Jack Perry, my bad. I mean, what's the difference? Right. Like it's just I like. Here's the thing. Give me the positive of Jon Moxley holding that title. Let's just break it down here. What is the net positive of Jon Moxley holding this title for as long as he has?
I'll just regurgitate my earlier points, but I accept that they're not watertight. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I don't think it's been a rip-roaring success.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, it's easy to say, but it's not like Naito had this fucking off time, and it's not like he couldn't have done that with the title. I just don't see the idea. Like, you drew a nice house. Did you have to do the title change? I don't know. I just don't see the positive for New Japan of this entire title run. But here we are. We're building up to Long Island, a show before G1. And again, Joel is giving me a 10 out of 10 title change. And I once again, I just double back on what was the point of all this.
So Dogfinger says potential for an evil babyface run as an anti-authority LIJ style gimmick based on the fact that I'd quite enjoy his act if not for the interference.
0.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath for that because I think they the company appreciate what he's doing at the moment. So I have learned my lesson when it comes to expecting big babyface turns from guys who are fully entrenched as heel. So cool idea, but don't hold your breath. So
What do you think?
Move on to.
What did you think of the Kidani angle?
I don't like Kidani, so him bad things happening to him makes me happy.
Oh.
So, it's a bit goofy. I mean, I could have done without that, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen something come of that, and it doesn't feel like anything's come of it. Like imagine going into work and blowing mist in your boss's face. I don't know. You would think some ramifications would have happened. Not New Japan. Nothing's happened. So we'll see. Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, that's okay, crazy, and nothing really came of it. So, all right, he's evil. We get it. He's a bad guy. Okay, all right, we get it.
So that brings us on to the main event of the show, which was the Best of the Super Juniors 31 final match. El Desperado defeats Taiji. I was going to say Taiji Ishimori. Taiji Ishimori.
Little tidy.
Taiji Ishimori in a tidy 23 minutes and 36 seconds. Well, I mean, I can't overstate how technically superb this match was. Like the execution and the fluidity throughout was remarkable. Like they're so good. They make it look seamless. Just two absolutely fucking great pro wrestlers. And I just want to wax lyrical about Ishimori. I know I did that last week, but his limb work is outstanding. The timing, the variety of the offense. I thought the Best of the Super Juniors tournament itself did a really good job establishing the danger of the bone lock, as well as the is it the numero dos? Is that his Despe's submission maneuver? So that played into some really exciting near submissions, near falls. I thought Despe's selling was great, really excellent. Both sold the drama of each other's submissions. That was really, really good.
I'm waiting for the butt.
Really good
I'm waiting for the butt.
No, there's no butt. I thought it was really great. I like the self-contained story of Ishimori, who's this nasty but really talented and experienced little fuckface, just trying every single trick in the book in his own idiosyncratic way, without the immersion-breaking cheating of a House of Torture, and he's just getting more and more desperate as all of his nasty, sneaky fuckface moves fail to get the job done. Some really great counters, playing off of previous matches that they've had, and also sort of stealing moves from Hiromu Despe matches of days gone by, which I thought was a nice little touch there for those of us sickos who sort of pay attention to nutty things like that. And Ishimori just emptied the tank, but Despe had learned, he'd grown from each previous encounter, used the occasion to lift himself to the next level. But I thought it was just a really superlative performance from Ishimori. So I thought he stole the show there. Right down to the exposed turnbuckle coming back into play right at the end. His defiant last stand, even when he knew he was already toast. And I thought it was really, really excellent match, Damon. I thought it was a great feather in the cap of Despe. He deserved a big moment like this. It's an unequivocal thumbs up from me. You sound like you did not feel the same way.
Thumbs up. I'm definitely in the thumbs up camp. I hate to do this because I don't even know if it's fair, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Dominion main events. Where does it rank?
Well, I suppose this is a separate conversation, isn't it? Because do New Japan have the roster to be able to deliver a main event like they were able to in 2017 and 2018? Like, do they have those guys anymore? What is on paper that what two wrestlers would you put out there that you think has even a chance of coming close to the glory days of Okada versus Omega? So in a way, I think New Japan is a victim of its own success, where I don't think they can ever reach those heights. And I think maybe it's foolish for us to hope for that and compare what we've got now to what we had then, because it's a very different era, different roster, different product.
Okay, but that's still the measuring stick. And I would go so far as to say Like, there's not many people on that roster that I wouldn't be like, okay, if I had to choose, Despe and Ishimori probably are on that short list of people that I would think, you know what, if you're gonna have a Dominion main event, let's put them in it. They could deliver. The match, I want to be very clear. I thought the match was very good. I don't know if I'm going to rank that in New Japan Dominion main events. It would probably fall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not going to fight you on that.
Okay.
But we've been spoiled.
It is, and I hate to be the person that's like, well, I mean, it was fucking good. Well, like, okay, what else do you want, dude? I don't know. I feel like Dominion main events need to be a cut above. And I don't know if I would put that in that category. Like, it was not a cut above.
Yeah, let's get it right. If I give you the book and say, Damon, you book Dominion, let's say Dominion 2025,
right,
and I want you to give me the main event as the two wrestlers who you think have the best chance of delivering to that very, very high standard. Who are you picking?
Great question. I don't know if I trust a heavyweight, two heavyweights, to be able to do that for me right now, if I'm being perfectly honest. So, I have no problem with a junior heavyweight being tasked to that. But again, to be clear. And like, if you're going to go through the roster, I like the fact that they had the balls enough to say, okay, we're going this direction. But then let's try and get a fair comparison then. If a Dominion main event isn't a fair comparable, where would you put this in Best of the Super Junior finals?
It is not as good as Wato Titan.
Right. What is that? What does it say?
It's not as good as the first Hiromu Ishimori.
Okay.
It's not as good as the first Despe Hiromu.
Okay. Keep going.
No, it wasn't a snowflakes match. It was a match. It was the thinking man's match, Damon. This is the match for people who are invested in the characters and the stories.
So I got to read a J. Michael fucking article. No offense to J. Michael.
No,
you know what I mean?
There's J. Michael catching strays.
No, there's no stray there. But I got to read a fucking article to get into this match.
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't got time for that.
That is.
I don't got time for that.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not going to fight you on that.
You know what I mean?
This is
like again.
No, I say to you, okay. You haven't answered my question.
Okay.
Give me two wrestlers for your
Great. Okay.
Your magical fairyland Dominion main event.
All right. They don't wrestle for the company anymore.
I've got one.
Okay, good.
Yeah? You want it? Zack versus Taichi.
See, here's the thing. I want that. And I feel like I'm somewhat on an island with that. In the sense of, those are two guys. Like, Taichi is just nowhere to be found. Like, he is, like, they need to put out a fucking APB to find this guy. Because, like, it felt like he was on the cusp of removing every nonsense stereotype that he had. And he did so well in brushing them aside and becoming a legitimate, again, off the fast forward watch. Zach is great. Cobb, great. There's plenty of guys that are great. Truth be told, like, a guy in this promotion right now that I would say, okay, go do great things. Shingo. Dare I say Ishii?
Oh my God.
I know.
On. Is that, we're going back to that well? No.
Okay, but my point is this. Then name me a fucking person, because truth be told, what we got as a main event with Despe and Ishimori was very, very good. It was not a Dominion main event. Sorry. It just fucking wasn't. And dare I say, it wasn't even in the top 5 in the past 5 years of Best of the Super Juniors main events. It just wasn't. So, okay, now what do we do? Now what are we doing? Like, you don't have the confidence in Jon Moxley and Evil to headline your show. You knew that in advance. So you said, okay, I'm going to try something a little bit risky. We're going to try something a little bit different. And we're going to put 2 juniors on top. Wonderful match. Not anywhere near a match that is needed for that spot. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be negative, Ned. But that's the honest to God truth. And the problem is just now the credit cards are coming in. The bills are coming in, right? We don't have that fucking person anymore. I'm sorry. We don't have Okada.
Yeah, correct. This is a company where the ceiling is like 4.25-star match.
That's not good enough.
I know, but this is the roster that we've got. It will take time and care and investment to get the younger guys up to the point where I think we can lift that ceiling.
Okay, but there's no guarantee that they're going to be the ones either.
No, there isn't. I know. What this is what happened when companies come in and poach all your top stars. You have to rebuild.
Yeah, you're right. But
same as Arsenal. I keep using it as an analogy in the Wenger years when after we built the Emirates Stadium and we couldn't afford to pay the wages and the transfer fees that we could before, and all of our top stars get bought by other clubs. You know, Cesc Fabregas, Robin van Persie, they're gone, and we have to start again. And that's New Japan at the moment.
Are people patient enough for that?
No, look at the New Japan World subscription numbers. They're going down. Of course they're not.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I know that this is a work in progress. And let's be quite frank, in 5 years, when those guys are ready to take that spotlight, El Desperado and Taiji Ishimori are going to be afterthoughts. They're not in that mix. Like, so to me, this was the true definition of a placeholder. Like, we don't have confidence in our young guys to be able to do what needs to be done. We don't have confidence.
They're not there yet.
They're not there yet.
It's not a question of confidence. They're not there.
No, they're not confident. Like, they're not there yet, but and they're not confident, and that's fair. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, it's
okay, but come on, let's give them credit. They put Yota Tsuji on his comeback match in the Dominion main event last year. Yep. That's confidence.
Okay, so what did that mean?
No, it means that they're investing in him.
Okay,
this is a long-term project.
Okay, so now, okay. So we're talking. It's fucking Hikuleo, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, okay. So a year has passed. What did that win mean? Doesn't feel like a lot, but okay, great. Or that match doesn't feel like it. But let's put that aside. Let's put the young guys aside and say, okay, they're not ready yet, and I think it's a fair statement, no doubt. And at least New Japan isn't shoehorning them in a spot that they're not ready for. I'm all about it. All about it. Okay. What are our options? Well, we don't have any faith in our World Heavyweight Championship match to deliver anything near what those expectations might be. And now we're going to lean on the junior heavyweights, which can, given the moons aligning and the right things and everything, and J. Michael fucking giving us the history and all that shit, didn't deliver. It didn't. It didn't deliver what a Dominion main event is. I don't think that's a wacky hot take. Do I think it was a great match? Yes. But understand that where we are is we don't have that. And the problem is that, okay, if we're recognizing we don't have that, like the idea of, okay, we'll just wait and tread water until we get these young kids at a point where we can trust them with that main event. How sustainable is that? And once again, this is coming off of Dominion that outsold even our expectations and people in the company's expectations. Let's be very truthful. We're in a holding pattern. And that's not the best feeling in the sense of, okay, when? Because we are in an impatient world. I'm sorry. We are. When? When is when? And right now I don't know where that confidence can come from in the future. Naito wins this title.
I think post G1. After G1, I think you'll have an answer to that.
Well, yeah.
Because I think Shota is the guy. I think he is the one who's closest. I'd say he's like 90% there. And we could be looking at a world where he wins the G1 climax, has a brilliant performance, and is anointed as a nailed-on star. And then we're having a very different conversation. We're looking at him full steam ahead to Wrestle Kingdom, going to dethrone Naito, and we're cooking.
I can't tell you how important this G1 is to me.
Oh, yes.
Like, honestly, for people who have left and have gone on to other things in their life, like, I would think this G1 might be the most important G1 that we've had in I don't know how long. Like,
correct.
Like, this is the true which direction are we going? And who is going to carry the mantle? It's almost
Call it now, Damon. Give me a final and your winner.
I don't think it's any of the young guys. You know what? Let me take that back. To me, I think Yota Tsuji has that possibility of being the guy. Shota, possibly. I mean, certainly not Ren. Certainly not people below that. Not Oleg. Not fucking like it's between those two, right?
I think my early prediction, our final is going to be Shota against Zack.
Zack wins.
It's coin flip.
Okay. Yeah. Look, to me, the most interesting thing about G1 is it has to happen now. It has to start now. And like, if you're looking to get on board on something that is, again, that flag post moment, this is it. Like, they need that. And the problem is that I don't know if everyone is confident with every other option that we've had on the table when it comes to Young Lions of being that person to deliver great matches. This G1. Like, for this company in the next 5 years, this G1, it's so important. Like, if the directive has to be, we're making this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy look like correct.
Fucking stars.
Have to, because again, and I'm with you. Like, they didn't have the confidence to for the kids now, and rightfully so. They don't have it right now. They don't have those people right now.
Having said that, though, they did. Yota Tsuji did win the New Japan Cup.
Yes.
He's not there yet. He's not.
No.
He's not got the rounded skill set to be doing those epic 30-minute main events.
None of them. Like, there's potential. There's stuff on a resume, a CV, if you will. Yeah. But, like, are you?
And that's why this G1's so important. It's sink or swim.
It is. This is G1 sink or swim. That should be. I want some fucking noisy Japanese pseudo metal band to sing that song.
Sink or swim.
Right. That's what I want, because it's the honest to God truth. Now, to some people, that's very exciting. It's very exciting. To other people, it's a little bit daunting and a little scary. But make no mistake about it. That's what this G1 is. Like, we need to see if we have the guys that we've invested so much in to take us to the next level. This tournament is it. This summer is it. So,
final fraud watch.
Final fraud watch. Yep, let's call it that. G1 final fraud watch. And here's the thing too. You could put a lot of fuckers in that. Let's do it. You could look, say what you will. You could put Hanare in that list. You could put ELP in that list. You could put all the young lions, former young lions in that. Like, there are a ton of people that are in that conversation of fraud watch. And
there's no excuses this time. It's not like, oh, well, they were put in a bad block with, no. This is the 20 top guys in the company. No hiding. No excuses.
No hiding.
You deliver, or you get in the fucking bin.
I'm with you, dude. And that's why I'm excited about this one. Because this is it. You're not going to build your fucking company, as much as I love them, you're not going to build your company around El Desperado. You're not going to build your company around Taiji Ishimori. You're just not. Like, that would be preposterous. Like, is he a favorite of mine? Absolutely. Love him to death. You're not building a fucking company around El Desperado. Sorry, you're not. This G1. Boy, there's so much on the fucking table. It's legitimately the most important G1 in years. So, let's fucking go.
And the fact that we're back down to 20, like, that's such fantastic news. I've been praying for that. That's an unmitigated win. We're so close, Damon, to a Chase Owens-less G1. That's the dream. But, I mean, there's also a very real chance of this goodwill going up in smoke if all those shitters make that cut of 18. Yeah. Like, if Chase gets announced on Sunday,
we're done.
In that 18, then it's get over. We're done.
Yeah, we're toast. Like, here's the thing. It gave me great confidence in the sense that they did whittle that field down. Like, the worst thing that could have happened is they said, okay, 32, then every Tom, Dick, and Harry's in it. It's G1. Great one. Right? Let's fucking lean into that a little bit. Let's weed out the dead weight. Okay. And now I say that with the caveat of people still have to lose, Joel. People still have to lose. So, like, if this is it, if this is one of those moments in the sand, I do not want to see any one of those guys that we talked about under 500. That would be preposterous to me. Like, the people who are going to be under 500 need to be Goto, needs to be Yoshihashi, needs to be, if they're going to do it, and I can't imagine they're going to, but let's just say they do, Hiroshi Tanahashi. It has to be those guys. And I don't know if they have the guts to do that. I don't know. And, like, if they're going to fucking litter us with a Chase and litter us with Kenta and litter us with nonsense, then they have to be losers. They have to be losers because we're in a precarious situation that I just outlined for 10 minutes. So I'm telling you flat out, this is the most important G1 in a long, long fucking time. Long time. Maybe since 90s? Maybe. That's how important I think this is. It's got to happen, and this has to be it because just what I outlined before.
And how important is that announcement on Sunday of the initial 18? Because for a lot of people, they're going to take one look at that and decide whether or not they are going to resubscribe, whether or not they're going to watch this tournament.
Right.
And if they're not watching the tournament, then they're not on board for those long-term stories.
Yep. No, you're 1,000% right. Like, people parachute in, casuals parachute in G1 Wrestle Kingdom. And they'll parachute in if someone, like, if there's enough buzz about a certain match, they might not parachute in paying, but, they'll put eyeballs on the product, whether hook or by crook. This is important. Yeah, those names being announced, paramount. paramount. And again, my fear is that those announcements aren't going to be sexy for people who tapped out after Nakamura left or fucking Ibushi or, like it's going to be hard to kind of sell that, Hinare or, whatever. Like you got to understand where we are, but also the company has to understand where we are. And if they're going to litter this 18 with just bullshit nonsense, like if I hear fucking Dick Togo, I'm going to put a bullet in my mouth.
No, that's not happening. But again, now might be the time for the company to, seriously think about someone like Yano. And I know we've heard all the arguments about Yano being G1 night off, blah, blah, blah. Have a serious think about that, New Japan. Is he really someone we need? Is he bringing value to what 2024 New Japan needs in this tournament?
What they need is a balls to the wall, true fucking best of what you got in that tournament, and kids showing what they got. That is it. And if they don't have that in them, then what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Give me a name, being that we've kind of drifted into. First of all, let's wrap up Dominion if we could. Give me your overall grade.
B plus.
Yeah, I'm B. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so that wraps that up. Give me 3 names or 2 who there's a very good possibility they're in G1, but you want no part of.
Okay. Tanahashi.
Fair.
And Yano.
Fair. Do you think they're in?
I'm just looking at my list here. I'll give you those 2. I've got on my list, right, my possible initial 18. We've got Finley, ELP, Evil, Gabe Kidd, Great Khan, Hinare, Tanahashi, Jeff Cobb, Ren, Sanada, Shingo, Shota, Taichi, Naito, Yano, Tsuji, Yuya, and Zack. And the only 2 that I would say that I've got no interest in are Yano and Tanahashi.
We talked about it last week. The value of Tanahashi with the lead in, the playoff, if you will. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not expecting Bad Luck Fale to make a return. I'm not, I'm not expecting that. But does anybody get you excited in that list?
I mean, I'm excited for guys like Shota and Tsuji. I always enjoy seeing Taichi in these things. I'm excited to see what Zach's going to be doing this year. Gabe Kidd,
okay,
he excites me.
Hinare,
I want to see what he's got in a proper block. I think there's also a lot of question marks over whether or not they're going to have outsiders, and that could be a good opportunity to just say, right, Tanahashi, Yano, sit this one out. We're going to put in, I don't know, someone from CMLL. Or, put Kiyomiya back in. I don't know. Just scour the globe, talk to your partners, beg, borrow, steal. Maybe get a few exciting outsider names in there.
Orange Cassidy.
Fuck off.
All right. Do you think?
Hey, what? Okay, no, go on.
No, I was going to say, do you think that there is any outside, again, let's just fucking lay it on the cards on the table. Do you think there's any chance any of these 3 are in G1? Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada,
No.
Kenny Omega.
No, I don't think Kenny physically can do that.
Okay.
I think those days are gone. And I don't want Okada in because we need some separation.
We do.
Same for Ospreay.
We do. And I would want them to lose more than they win. But we know that ain't going to happen. All right.
How do you feel about the new format? So now, first place in the blocks goes straight through to the semi-finals.
Okay.
And then there's a playoff between the second and third place. And this is all within the same block. So, for example, in A block, second place A block will face off against the third place in A block to decide who faces the first place in A block in the semi-final. So, there's a slight advantage in finishing top of the block in that you skip that playoff rounds. But with this situation now where the third place goes through to this playoff, in a lot of ways that mirrors the way other sporting tournaments have evolved and expanded over time. Like, you look at something like the upcoming European Football Championships, which not so long ago, I think like 1992, it was 2 blocks of 4. There was just only 8 teams in it. And until fairly recently, it was 16 teams. Now it's 24. So this is what happens. Like the Champions League at the moment, they've fucked around with the format. It's very confusing now for next season. I don't get it. So I'm not saying that that's not a defense, and I'm not saying the G1 changes are good because it's also happening in real sports, but just putting it there as an interesting parallel. But the issue here being that we're going to get 2 rematches from within the block, with the second and third place playing each other, and then the winner of that playing first place, which to me raises some slight concerns about 50-50 booking. Because if it's a rematch and one guy's won the first one, then just the way New Japan book, I'd be thinking, the other guy's going to get his win back. And I do completely understand people who want the simplicity, want the purity of the old days where you just have the top guy go through to the final. And, these changes, they're probably there to pop a bigger number. They want to have that playoff round where they can hope to sell a few more tickets. But, I would argue a lot of people don't really pay attention to the points until the final few nights. We had... Back in the day, you could look at the schedule, look at the final night and say, okay, right, final night, we've got Okada versus Ibushi. That's it. That's the only one that counts here. And that compromises some of the drama. So, and I know as I'm talking through it now, this is set up to indulge Ghetto's favourite ever booking trope, which is someone starting off 0-3 and 0-4 and then sneaking in through third place to get to the final or win the whole tournament. So how are we feeling about this playoff, the third place and the second place and all of that jazz?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, it does. Usually the interest is guys spoiling other people's chances of advancement, right? Aside from the people that are already locked in atop of the standings. It just gives a little bit more intrigue. It gives a little bit more, okay, why do I care about this particular match? You're right. This does scream that third place person getting a win and then, squeaking his way in and then, catches fire and, he's in the final all of a sudden. I don't know. I kind of like it. I mean, look, it's kind of like the old, we have that in baseball and we have that in many sports where they call it the wild card, Joel, the wild card weekend. Where, it's just like what you explained. A team that under normal circumstances might not have been in the playoffs, yet they're playing for a chance to get in, and then, hey, anything can happen. And that's what they're kind of building this around. I don't have a problem with it because, as much as it sounds like I'm not into it, those type of things in other sports, truth be told, are one of the best weekends in sports. Like those games are just like, ooh, they're like the stakes are high, and but we all know why this is done, and this is done just like you said to help boost ticket sales for other nights besides the finals. There are stakes, and there's something to get behind. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Would I like the pure, block winner? Yeah, okay. Yes, if I'm trying to be a traditionalist. But truth be told, I do like the idea of that little wild card, that little play-in. I like to play in. I like the fact that there is that idea of a guy who's in third could possibly win it. I don't know. It does keep things a little bit interesting. It does keep you on your toes a little bit. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So this Sunday, we're going to get the 18 entrants of G1 Climax 34 announced, and 9 guys in each block. Then we will have, on June 22nd, round 1 of play inside. Well, actually, this is too complicated. Basically, we're going to have 2 brackets of 8 wrestlers competing for the 2 additional spots in the G1.
Okay.
So this is very, very interesting. I mean, this is great. This is something that I think is a massive positive. I've been saying it for years, haven't I, about why they're not doing qualification matches and having qualification tournament. Brilliant. I mean, not of course. There's always the weird ghetto booking, notwithstanding. Like, let's never discount New Japan's capacity to take something that looks like an open goal on paper and fuck it up and make it weird somehow.
Right.
But as we've been talking about, the big potential here to make a really memorable moment for a young guy or maybe even a junior heavyweight getting an upset win over an established name and nicking their spot. And then when they do qualify, no one really care if they go 2-7 because they had that cool moment in winning that play-in bracket against a bigger name. And I think, as I talked about, there's a lot of guys who I think can't physically do the 9-match meat grinder anymore.
Right.
As I've said, your Ishis, your Gotos, they can do a couple of cool matches in these play-ins, help get a new guy over, help get a young guy over in a way that I think would be more memorable than just, as I said, slogging out a 4 and 5 in the G1 itself.
Totally.
So,
Yep.
a lot of questions for who's in that. I've talked at length about Callum Newman. I think he's a guy being prepped for one of those spots. So if I had to put money on it now, I'll say Callum Newman's winning one of those. Second spot, to win the second bracket, Hiromu.
I'd like to see some.
Hiromu versus Naito. That feels like one of the few money matches they got left. We're running out of time to do it on the biggest stage.
I mean, I would love to see juniors in that play-in. Yep, good.
Yeah, what do you think about these play-in brackets and who do you think is going to be in them? Who do you think is winning them?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're once again, there's stakes. There's things to get excited about, even in a mini tournament to make the G1. They have to do it right. Like they have to. This has to be a catalyst to help promote someone that they're investing in. Like this cannot be, as much as we threw flowers at him, it can't be a Tomohiro Ishii moment. It can't be a Kenta moment. Like this has to,
and not TJP either. I'm sorry, I'm not having that. That would be preposterous.
I don't care who's in it. I'm going to be very truthful. In that playoff, like in that to get into G1, truth be told, I don't care who's in it. I just hope that
I mean, TJP can be in it, but he can't win it. I'm not having TJP in the G1 proper.
Why?
Because he's a junior heavyweight and not a particularly established one at that.
Okay, but they've had junior heavyweights in there, and again, the established part, there's debate.
The top guys, man. It's been your Ospreys and your Shingos and
Ligers.
TJP is very good. If he's not on that level.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair. So it has to be a heavyweight.
I've got a list here, right? So these are people who could be in it, and I don't think all of these guys will be in because there's a lot of names here where it just wouldn't make sense for them to fly them in or pay for hotels or whatever if they're just going to win and then lose in a playoff bracket. But we've got Yujiro, Tenzan, Nagata, Honma, Makabe, Chase Owens, Kenta, Ishii, Mikey Nichols, Shane Haste, Goto, Yoshihashi, TJP, Callum Newman, Oleg Boltin, and that's not to mention many other junior heavyweights. But
okay, so of those names, but of those names that you mentioned, who's advancing?
Well, I said my 2 picks to go through would be Callum Newman and Hiromu.
Okay, like if they do that, and you rattle off a lot of names that have a lot of miles on them. And at this point in their career, it would be best if that were the course, right? So we're putting over young talent. That has to be the focus of that play-in tournament. Has to be. Because, again, if at the end of the day, at the top of the leaderboard, it's Tenzan and somebody, and there's not a significant reason why a youngster isn't moving on, then it's going to be a disappointment. I'm with you. again, to me, I don't have any problem with whomever they put in there. It's okay. Who's the focus? And I would really like if they do get in. I don't want them to go 2-7. You know, I want them to make an impact. Like if they had any guts, it would be Shota, or it would be Callum, or it would be it would be that and they can win spectacularly and have like this very impressive win-loss record, or they could have a big match and that's what puts them in. Whatever the case may be, there has to be a rub. There has to be an ascension for somebody. And I wouldn't necessarily have a problem, Joel, if they said, okay, we're going to sacrifice on paper what those 18 automatic entrances are, or 17 or whatever, and we're saving this moment to promote someone and then continue on that in G1. I'm all aboard. All fucking aboard. Pick somebody, but that has to be the case. Because if at the end of the day, it's Yuji Nagata who fucking wins this, and this is not a disrespect to Yuji Nagata, but that ship has sailed. Like, what would be the benefit of that? And if they did that, I would be incredibly disappointed because they lost an opportunity. So, again, I think we're all on the same page of I don't give a shit who's in it in that play-in tournament, as long as it's a young person that we're trying to establish that gets the rub and gets into G1.
I'm going to throw another name that's just popped into my head. Show.
Wow. No.
Okay.
I mean, okay, so if we said yes to Show, then what we're looking at is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cut down on the House of Torture. You know what I mean?
Well, you could have a redemption story where he's forced to go up against evil and then rediscovers his old fighting spirit.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. I thought that would be a very WWE thing to do, where he loses his junior title and then is like, "Fuck it, I'm entering the G1 qualification tournament."
As long as he looks at his hands once or twice, that's all I care. Those evil hands.
All right. Should we move on? Should we preview the New Japan Soul show coming up on Sunday? So our kickoff match, we got our two new young lions. We got Masatora Yasuda, who's 24 years old, 175 centimeters, 83 kilograms. So he's born in Mexico, raised in Sapporo. He's the son of luchador Zumbido. And we have Daiki Nagai, who's 21 years old, 170 centimeters, so a very tiny person. Former Japanese armed forces. I forget which one of these is Long-Faced Lou, but we've got two new young lions we can look forward to watching and deciding who's a fucking fraud and who's going to be a future star.
Right, with a Boston Crab.
We got a 10-man tag match with Katsuya Murashima, Satoshi Kojima, Sho Makato, and Tomoaki Honma and Tomohiro Ishii versus United Empire, Callum Newman, Francesco Akira, Great Okan, Jeff Cobb, TJP. Tag team match with Ren Narita and Yoshinobu Kanemaru against Doki and Taichi. 6-man tag team match with Bishamon and Shota against Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro. Tag team match with Naito and Titan against Taka Michinoku and Yuya Uemura. And into the business end of the card, where we have a few rematches. We've got the Never Openweight 6-man tag team title match with LIJ, Bushi, Hiromu, and Tsuji, defending against the recent former champions Tanahashi, Boltin, and Yano. So do you think we're going to hot potato the belts back to Tana, Boltin, and Yano, or do we think it's a LIJ retaining?
This does feel like
I don't want Yota Tsuji coming into every G1 match carrying the Never Openweight 6-man championship belt.
Those prestigious titles? What do you mean? I would not be surprised if they did the old flip-flop. I would not be surprised. You would think you would want to get a title like that off of LIJ, especially if you have members that hold it, to be in the mix. I mean, again, the argument could be made of, well, you're setting up programs for the title. They don't lose. I'll go for it. I'll bite. Title change, flip flop. Let's do it.
Then we've got the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match. Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Driller Maloney against TMDK, Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles.
This should be really good, right? I don't think anybody thinks on paper that this should be anywhere near even average. I mean, they're going to give them, 8-10 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, being that it's higher up on the card. I don't know. Look, I don't have any confidence that they would change the titles at this point. It wouldn't surprise me. There's nothing wrong with it, and I would thoroughly embrace it. But again, if I'm going with the old, okay, how many title changes on the show? If we're changing the never, then we'll probably hold off on here. But again, that wouldn't surprise me if they did make that move, and I'd be welcome it with open arms.
Again, I'm fantasy booking War Dogs losing the titles and then Driller entering the G1 qualifications for them. Lots of interesting things you could do here. Next, it would be the Never Openweight title match with Shingo Takagi defending against Henare. I think it's time for Henare to win.
It's got to be. I mean, what are we doing? I can't think of one guy in this promotion that, he's even gone beyond Juice Robinson levels, hasn't he? If you're going to do something with him, do something with him. Let's put it this way: him not committing to WWE should speak volumes to New Japan. That okay, let's invest a little bit in here, and once again, to be very clear, this is the never, right? This is the never title. This isn't you will give your secondary title, your global heavyweight championship, which apparently is your secondary title, to fucking pick a guy who just got released from WWE. You know what I mean? You mean to tell me you can't fucking put the never on Henare and be comfortable with that? Just fucking do it. They got to do it here. And here's the thing too. They wouldn't have said, okay, we're going to do this knockout double no winner. Why would they do that to have him not win it? It would be, I swear to you, if that does happen, I will be the one standing up and just giggling at my TV at the absurdity of them doing that. Hanare's winning.
Then, in the semi-main event, we have the IWGP Global Heavyweight title match with David Finlay defending against Sanada.
I can't think of a fucking match that I could care less about.
Look, okay, I understand, but this, when it was the New Japan Cup final last year, was really, really good.
Okay. Do you think they have that in them again?
Yeah.
Okay. I like your confidence. I like it.
I will not accept any Finlay phobia on this podcast.
Look, he's had a solid year, not a great year, solid year. This could be the shits, and I mean that both in a positive way and in a negative way. All right, I'm going to challenge him. What do you think of this? I'm challenging you, Sanada, and I'm challenging you, David Finlay. Have a great match, because I don't think you have it in you again. What do you think of that? I don't think you have it in you. I don't think you can do it. So, I will be pleasantly surprised. If I'm wrong, I will eat crow, but I feel very confident. What do you think of that? I don't think you got it. I don't think you got it in you.
I think you do. I believe in you, David.
All right.
Do it for me. Main event, IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, Steel Cage match.
Oh, my goodness.
Show versus El Desperado.
This could be really good. This has, we got a gimmick match. And again, I hate lumberjack matches because I don't care who's in it. Name me a great lumberjack match. They don't happen. But you can name me plenty of great steel cage matches, right? So, that being said, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say this could be really good. This could be really good, and especially El Desperado, who's kind of has this little side thing where he likes to do crazy fucking shit in a ring in front of an audience that is probably significantly less than what he's going to be doing it now. Yeah, this is pretty great. I mean, I don't think there's anything fine. I just got a text. I'm not going to read it online, but we got to quickly wrap this up.
So how much more can we say about Despe versus Show?
Yeah,
we've said it a million times already.
Somebody's getting late. I'm just saying that. All right, and it ain't me. All right, go ahead.
All right, see you next week, everyone.
That's it.
All
right, see you.
Hey now, it's Mike Gilbert, host of the Mike and JD Show, right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Join JD by God Oliva and myself every Thursday night live on the Voices of Wrestling YouTube channel at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we stay up all night discussing all the hottest stories in professional wrestling. You can also check us out right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting feed, or you can subscribe to the Mike and JD Show feed. Now, enjoy the show.
Brace yourself for something fuel-nominal. Unleaded 88 is the clear fuel choice. It's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. And it's grown by Iowa corn farmers. Now that's totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88.